Okay, so one of the things I can do is I just downloaded a healthy individual and then someone with lupus.
Oh, that's good.
So I can load in the file from the healthy individual, and then I can, if I go to comparison mode here, and open the lupus patient. So now I've got these two. So I can click these two and do a phenotype comparison. And what this is showing is the specific clonotypes that are, essentially uniquely represented in one or the other. So the lupus or the healthy individual. In this case, I think there's no overlap, so we don't see any two. The other way I could represent this is, I think it's sample overlap here. Let's see. Sorry, I don't do this particular one as much. Okay. So I can also do it as a kind of a scatter plot where if we have clonotypes in common, we would expect them to be on the horizontal axis here. So we've got the lupus patient and then the healthy individual, and if we zoom in, we can start to see that they basically have nothing in common there. However, if I load in some technical replicates, and again, I can point you to tutorials on all this, so it's just a bit of a crash course here.
Okay.
But if I do a comparison between two technical replicates, and now we can see, all of the clonotypes they have in common, and that they're overlapping. So you are able to do some comparison. I mean, it's limited, to be sure. It's pairwise, but it does give you a little bit of the capability to do that.
Is there any way to look at what another enriched in one versus the other, or
Yeah, that's what the clonotype comparison does.
Oh, that one.
So this is showing a comparison of what's in what's in the other. And you can filter this by additional information. Actually, if you have information, if you have gene expression information, you can pull that in as well.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's the other thing is, we got a transcriptome, and we get that population like of IL-4 receptor expressing cells, and then we want to look at, say, something like this for those cells. Is there an easy way to do that? If let's say the files are concatenated, we do that, right? Concatenated.
Yeah. Let me kind of show you how to do that. It's not awesome. Let's see here. Let's load up a different data set.
And I guess once we export, like the barcodes, what is the best best next program to look at repertoire? Is there a program everybody says, oh yeah, this is the best, or?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not yet. It's that's so much newer than gene expression. At this point, gene expression at single cell level is about probably 4 years old if you include the time that the drop-seq technology's been around.
Yeah.
Whereas, paired heavy light chain or alpha beta at single cell levels, basically just our product. So I'd have to double check on that, but I don't think there's quite the same.
Yeah, that's your product.
Choices.
I mean, that's just came out with 10X. There
Right,
wasn't
yeah.
a way to do it before, a good way. So what does people do? I mean, we have people, we have a few people all suggesting different things. What can people do? I mean, what's the next step? I don't even know what the next step is. A common program that might be the first choice.
Yeah, honestly, I'd have to double check what people are using.
I mean, they all say that they all
don't
say
know.
what you just said. Oh yeah, we can do this. We did this with heavy chain, but not paired, and that kind of thing. We can do what we used to do with hybridomas or something. But I don't see. And maybe that would be okay. We can just do the heavy chain for starters. I haven't seen that even. But the paired component, the paired part, nobody knows how to do that. And they say, well, they're all out there say we'll develop a pipeline. But can't 10x can't 10x develop a pipeline? It's your machine that's making this a question.
Yeah.
Is anybody there working?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I'll have to follow up on that for you guys about what is, so for gene expression, like Monocle and Seurat are kind of like the premier things that people use, the
Right.
tools that people use for gene expression. I don't know off the top of my head what people are using for BDJ, but it's definitely, like we've just been discussing, far more immature than gene expression, so it's certainly been much more limited.
Does someone at 10x, I mean, I know that Sherman was saying that you don't develop the software, but you know who does for VDJ, for example. Is that right? Is there someone there we can talk to and work with at least a little bit to get our data, get an analysis of our data? I mean, you guys are working on it. And we wouldn't say, well, this is the last thing, but we just would like to talk to someone who's, I know you're developing it, right? So.
Yeah, well, so the software I would say the general philosophy we've had to date, at least, is to be pretty agnostic to the software tools people ultimately use, and that's why the data you get is as they're developed,
I see.
And new algorithms for calling and gene expression and all those kind of things. So our tools kind of populate the front end of that. They're not necessarily as diverse or robust as the downstream tools that are out there.
Well, maybe another way to say it, is there anyone, what downstream tools that are out there are people using? Because you must.
Yeah, no, I'm taking that as an action item to follow up on, because I honestly don't know. I get more exposure to the gene expression side of the packages people are using there.
Yeah.
I get less exposure to the BDJ side of what people are using. So yeah, I'm going to follow up on that for you.
All right. Okay, that's good.
Sort of a candidate list, if you will, of what are people using in that regard.
Or even who's doing it, and maybe you can't say that, but anyway, that's good. Yeah, an action item there would be good.
Yep. I think the only thing I was going to show you, are you guys okay on time, or do you need to?
A little bit more, and then we'll let you go. I know you're short on time too.
So if we have matched data, so this is data we generated both gene expression and BDJ data from.
Uh-huh.
So this is a data set we have. It's a lung tumor. Somebody has already annotated it, with the markers, so they kind of know some of the different cell populations in there. But while I'm looking at my gene expression, I can load in BDJ data directly. So if I just click on BDJ, and then import clonotype, so that's going to come from that vloop file that you're already used to. So I can load that in. So now I can see, all my clonotypes. You're basically recapitulating this same.
Were those blue what are those blue dots? Are they the ones that had the T cell receptor?
Exactly. Yep. Yep. So if we look at it in this conventional or just the BDJ browser, we have 1,700 clonotypes or cells, sorry, with BDJ information. So now there are 1,700 blue dots indicating we have BDJ information for for those cells.
So
And what we can do is we can filter based off of annotation. So if you have a particular annotation that you want to look for, you can start to filter and only light those up and see that they're predominantly in this population, and you can start to look for barcodes that you want to dig into further, kind of like we did
I see.
earlier, right, when we were toying around with that IL-4.
And you could actually export the genes like we did before, like go to split view, like what Shinmin said. If you go to split view, then will you see the T cell receptor positive ones pop out, and then you can pull those out. But
Yeah.
can you try? Can you do that?
The other thing we can do this kind of the reverse way. So if I go back to gene expression,
Yeah.
and let's just say I have no idea what this is, but I'm super interested in this cluster because it has certain markers that are important to me.
Mm.
Let's give it a name. So I can, save this. We already talked about how we can, categorize stuff and export those names.
Exclude unlabeled. Yeah.
But now I can go into the BDJ data, and I can. I think I have to save this. Let's do it this way. So somebody's already made these categories, right? They've already identified these particular types of cells in here.
Right.
So if I load in my CLoop file now, you can see this down here. One of my choices is to filter by cluster, and now I can select a different cluster type based off of what someone's already done the groundwork, right? So they found the monocytes here, and now that'll show up in here. So I can say, okay, show me just the clonotypes reported from or from what I think are monocytes, and I can also do this comparison mode. Where now I can say, well, show me, what's different between all the CD4s and the CD8s, for example. So this cluster identification was based on me, playing around, in here. So you can kind of pull some information back and forth between the two. It's certainly not perfect, right? This is clunky to have to do it this way, but this is how you can leverage some of that information to, so for example.
So that one population down there, the little triangular one in the bottom, can you then save those and export, I don't know, the T cell receptor, because we can get the genes in there, but can you look at the T cell receptor list for that little bottom population? The little triangle that one. Or any little, no, the one above it, I guess. Any little subset like that one, and then just look at now let's look at T cell receptors in that little population.
Yes, well, so, if we just flip to BDJ clonotypes here.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then you could, if you lasso that,
okay, and then
let's see.
And make a shorter list. I think if you use never mind. I was thinking split screen thing, but lasso, because anyway, but show the T cell receptor clonotype for that little population. How would you do that? The little you were about to do it. I interrupted you.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how we would. Let's see. Let's try this way. We might not be able to do that exact, it seems like I'm not able to do that exact combination that you're thinking of. Let's see here. Yeah, I'd have to think about that one, if we could do that.
But you can do the whole thing. So you can do everything because you got the list there. So you can't, but if you lasso it a little bit, then remake the list or something. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, I'm sorry, filter by cluster, here we go. So yeah, so cluster, so let's see here.
Right.
Alright, so yeah, so if I go back to BDJ, cluster, it should show up now. Yeah, there we go,
Oh, really?
my cluster, there we go. So now we have the shortened list of just the,
Just
the clonotypes reported in here, and then, we can export that as well. Should go to.
and then get the barcode. Is that right? Or no? Go ahead. Export what?
Well, I'm sorry. We would get the barcodes. We'd have to go back to here where we put it, and that's where we get the barcodes from.
I see. And you export that.
Yeah.
Now, how do you export it again? I know. I have a bad memory. Just can you export it again?
Yeah. So just right here,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh.
then export. Now in this case, there's a bunch of other stuff. So
Oh, right. Turn those off. You're right.
yeah, that's because someone else has annotated everything else. In our little scenario, we had only annotated one of them, so we would just export that.
And exclude unlabeled, so you just get the ones.
Yeah.
And what does that now look like? The little exported file. I always forget where it goes. Is it?
Yeah. So this is gonna be a list of barcodes. Let's see.
Is this
Got all
helpful?
these files with the same name on my desktop now, so make sure those are right. Yeah, there we go. So now we have, that was that little triangular cluster. Here's the barcodes that
I see.
correspond to that. However many there are, the 200 or so.
One thing, this is something that we have trouble with. If you wanted to, this is like bioinformatics. We got the barcodes, we got the whole file of everybody's barcode. If you wanted to sort of sort or match barcode, I guess it's concatenate, but put those with other information, because there's a file that has all the gene expression for those barcodes. Is it possible to sort of like, I don't know, sort of like list those barcodes, and then I'm thinking of the dumb way, just use Excel and list by something, you know what I mean? So the Excel will find out that you got 8,000 or 9,000 barcodes, I guess, but you just want to find those barcodes. You want to pull those 200 or 300 barcodes out of the 9,000. I mean the genes associated with them. You know what I mean. Get the other information on the barcodes, all the barcoded information for those cells that is in another Excel spreadsheet, and just pull those 200 or 300 out. Is that clear?
Well, so I think what you're saying is, so my master table has, barcodes out to 8,000.
Right.
Right, and I've got genes.
Right. Down there.
And you're saying I want just this subset to look at, because here's my, I found.
Yeah, that's right. A subset of barcodes and even a subset of genes. That would be even better.
Yeah.
So how do you?
I mean, you can pull out. So this is not trivial, because, our tool is not gonna do this, but this is a kind of a CSV file. It's that next format. There's probably some tools in R that do better at this, but, that's where you would specify this list of barcodes and have it, find them in here to pull them out. You can repeat Cell Ranger and give it a list of barcodes. So, initially Cell Ranger is looking at all 8,000.
Oh, right.
But you could say, hey, repeat this. I want you to only look at these barcodes.
Oh, that would be good. How would you do that? That
so
might be
just an option in when you run it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a file called barcodes.csv, I think. It's an optional argument. I guess it's Cell Ranger. Actually, it's probably Cell Ranger reanalyze, so you can repeat the analysis.
Right. How do you?
Excuse me.
Oh, customize reanalysis.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And then you give it this list of barcodes. Right? So that would be basically just this list. I mean, to be honest, I don't know why you would do that necessarily. I mean, if you did that, like in this case.
Just to zero in, just to sort of zero in and, sort of even subdivide the little subdivided one there.
Yeah, but you kind of, at that point, probably it's just going to get noisy, right? Because this clustering that's forming because we've given it a diverse data set with, thousands of cells in it. If we repeat the analysis literally just on this guy, what it's going to try to do is cluster this.
Right. Well, okay, put it another way. If we did it start over again, Cell Ranger, now we're just looking at that. Like, let's say that's the IL-4 receptor positive ones. Then at least we have the ones, we get that for one person, get it for another person, and then we can start over again and concatenate those two. And now we've got the IL-4 receptor positive or some subpopulation of one and the similar one in the other, and then see how those are different, something like that. But if at least we went back to Cell Ranger and did it again, then we would not be comparing, apples and oranges to apples and oranges. We'd just be comparing the apple to an.
I don't think that's probably the right strategy. I think you would want to compare the apples to oranges. So if I'll just show you this data set that comes with it. This is actually a pool of an AML patient.
Yeah.
In blue and healthy individual in orange.